Today I want to show you how tricky the Alien Gambit can be. Now it's a gambit invented by with the Alien. I will link his channel in the description. But yeah, let's start. We start with the Caro-Kann, so it only works if they go into the Caro-Kann, and here we bring our knight out. And the main move in the Caro-Kann is to take and to bring this knight out. And what they want is they want to go for a Tartar cover, which looks like this, and there's a lot of theory there. But we are not going to go into that. We are actually going to play knight g5. And this looks just weird. Anyone who plays the Caro-Kann just thinks, okay, this is not theory. What's he doing? Let's just kick out the knight. And this is the most played move, and it's still a fine move. But here the fun begins because we can actually sacrifice the knight here. And yeah, they have to take because else we are taking a rook or a queen. So they're going to take. And still, this is arguably better for black. But there's a lot of traps here. And yeah, usually Caro-Kann players aren't prepared for this. Although maybe after this video some of you are. And we are just going to play a quiet move. Just bring the knight out. And here already the most played move is actually a blunder, which is bishop g4. Just pinning our knight to the queen. Looks alright. And usually in the Caro-Kann that is, especially in the Tartar cover, that is a move you'd like to play if possible. But in this case, because the king is now on f7, we actually have this check here. Notice we are attacking the king and the bishop. King has to move and we take the bishop. And we've already won back our piece. But more importantly, we are up a pawn and the light squares are just extremely weak. Black doesn't have a light squared bishop anymore. So yeah, this is completely winning already. And like I said, that was the most played move here. Now the second most played move is bishop f5, just developing the bishop to another square. And here we still have a lot of other tricks. And again, we're going to start with knight e5 check, but now we're not winning the bishop because it's on f5. But here black can do a couple of things. And let me first show you what happens if the king goes back to e8. Usually people don't even play this because, yeah, why do you want your king to be stuck in the center? You usually want to get it to safety. Here we're going to bring our bishop to c4. And notice we're already threatening checkmate. So black doesn't have time for any random move because this would just be checkmate. So what black usually does is they are going to block here. They're like, okay, pawn is defended by the bishop, so everything's all right. But here we can actually strike with g4. Notice that this pawn is defended twice, so they can't really take it because that would just lose a piece. And now we've again won back our piece and same situation as before. So that's not what they are going to do. So instead, they're probably going to move their bishop back. We're going to win this pawn. And yeah, we've already equalized in this position, but practically speaking, this is just way easier to play for white. Black's king is stuck in the center. You can't castle. And yeah, we have just a lot of compensation for the knight. And even material-wise, we have 2 pawns for it. So yeah, this is just way easier to play for white. But like I said, usually black doesn't go into that because, let's see, after this check, they are usually going to bring the king back here. Now, what's nice about this opening is that you can actually play the same move, although in this case it is check. So now it's a little bit more forcing, but again, black usually just plays here and defends. But here in this variation, g4 is actually even more tricky. Because in the last variation where black moved his bishop back, let's see what happens when he does that now. We take this pawn, but now it's checkmate. Notice the king is now here and not here. And yeah, he has nowhere to move, can't block, can't take the bishop. So it's checkmate. So going back, that's not what he wants to do. And the best move is actually to attack my bishop. And after I move here, go here. Idea being that if I take and try to keep the threat, you can actually exchange queens and he's all right. And if I don't take, I need to watch out to not get my bishop trapped. And even if I try to make a square, now my bishop is just locked in, so this is bad. Yeah, here we just have an equal position, but we don't have any checkmate threats anymore. And the best here is to actually take the bishop. let them trap our bishop and just play on from there. But like I said, usually no one is gonna find this move. They're like, okay, our bishop is attacked. I need to respond somehow, and they're gonna fall into this checkmate. So again, that's another trap. Now another thing they can do in this position is, instead of blocking here, is blocking with a knight. And this is also a really fun variation to play. We're gonna bring our queen out to r3, attacking the bishop. So again, it's a forcing move. They need to respond. And what happens a lot of time is that they are gonna defend the bishop with the pawn. But again, in this position, g4 is a crushing move. They can't bring their bishop back because this is now checkmate with the queen. So a different checkmate, but same idea. And also that's why things like this are easy to remember. And even if they, after g4, even if they just grab a pawn here, at the very least, we just have a perpetual check here. Not like this. Sorry, there is a draw here. I should have analyzed this before going into all this. Bishop b3. Okay. Yeah, this is just drawing. You can analyze for yourself. I should have analyzed this before, but yeah. Like I said, usually they're not gonna play anything like that, and even if so, yeah, it's completely alright for us. But if they go here, that would be checkmate. Same thing if they defend with this pawn. Now here, now this doesn't even work because this is checkmate. This pawn isn't here anymore, so the queen is cutting off this rank. So yeah, usually, and what's actually best for black is to not defend the bishop, but to move it to e5. Also defending this square, because let's say they moved it all the way back. That's just a lot more dangerous, and it's actually made into 3 here. So we can check with the queen. King moves here. We have a check with the bishop. And yeah, there's basically nothing they can do here now. Bishop f5 is just the last resort, but yeah. So they need to put their bishop here and defend that square. But here we're gonna bring our knight to g6, attacking the rook. They're gonna move their rook, and now we're gonna put our bishop on d3. And again, we've set a trap here, and this trap is, I think, a little less obvious, although they're probably gonna see the spin. But yeah, that's not easy to get out of, because if they move the rook, we can take it anyway. But if they play a random move here, to just show you what we're threatening, we can actually take this bishop. Notice they can't take back with the king, so they have to take back with the queen. But after that, we can take this rook, and after the king takes, we just win their queen. And yeah, this is obviously completely winning again. So that's our threat, and again, a lot of people already fall for this. But even if they don't fall for that, they're bringing the knight out, and we're gonna play another quiet move. We're just gonna castle and say, okay, it's your move again. Let's see what you do. And again, here we're threatening something, and usually they don't see this one. So they're just gonna play some random move. Can also bring the rook somewhere. It doesn't really matter. We're gonna play queen e4 here. And we're already winning in this position, by the way. But yeah, we're attacking the bishop, and they really should do something about it, because that would be also checkmate. Notice our knight is still covering that square. So yeah, they're gonna have to move the bishop back to f7. But in this position, we can actually take on e7 with check. If they take back with the queen, we have a checkmate here. Notice we have the battery here. So they can't really do that. Again, a lot of people fall for that, but if they don't and take with the bishop, we're gonna win back a rook. And yeah, again, material-wise, we're already actually up 1 point of material at this point. But even more so, the king is very weak. We can check here. They force to bring the bishop back. Usually it's best to kick this knight back. And after the knight goes back, the best move actually here is another sacrifice. We're gonna sacrifice our bishop. After they take, and we check here, the king moves here. We're ready to bring a rook in. Engine doesn't really know which rook is best, but yeah, we're gonna double up the rooks, and black is completely paralyzed. So even though we are looking at the pieces down material, because actually if you count the pawns, it's equal material. Yeah, black just doesn't have any moves here. He's completely paralyzed. We can slowly build up the pressure, and it's gonna be too much for black. So yeah, a lot of traps in this one, a lot of variation, but yeah, it's really tough for black to prevent all of these traps. You really need to be prepared, and in my opinion, no one is at this time. This will gain in popularity. It already has a lot, but yeah, take advantage of it while it's still not that well known. So yeah, let me know if you trap someone with this one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.